Hello there. When people think of the Great War, they mostly think of deep trenches, mustard gas, and above all, the Western Front. After all, what happened in France and Belgium is all that really mattered, right? Nothing interesting happened in the East. Well, no, it was hell. For the Russians, it was brutal fighting against the Germans and Austro-Hungarians, and there was trouble at home as well. Revolutions, bad elections, corrupt officials. This was not a nice place to be. So I wanted to jump into the shoes of the Russian Empire in the Great War Redux mod for HOI4 and see just what all the trouble was. Not only that, I want to use only the historical divisions, presets, and designs that the Russians actually used to see what they were like and see if they were any good. For more historical insanity like this, including a mega challenging Black Ice video coming on April 5th to celebrate my 32k subscribers by my birthday, why not like the video and subscribe? Here we are, Russia. We have an incredibly large border. We own all of Poland and also Tabriz in Iran, which I didn't expect. We've got our glorious Chad Nikolai II as our Tsar, but also some pretty bad national spirits, including threat of revolution and strikes. These are bad. Oh, Agrarian Empire, max factories in a state minus 50%. Oh, that's terrible. But hey, at least we're the defenders of orthodoxy. Focus tree-wise, we're going to be going the completely historical path, which means unifying with the Entente, and of course, most likely, falling to the Bolsheviks. Now, we can't actually get rid of threat of revolution, or rather we can if we go down this little focus tree and convene the State Duma, but if we do that, we can't become the Soviets later, so I will not do this. For industry, we are very, very small. I'm going to start out with a little bit of a civilian economy, and our research is not actually too terrible. Our main goal will be basically just trying to equip as many divisions as physically possible to put on the line, because we're going to need a lot of boys. We're also going to need a lot of different types of equipment, because the divisions are a little strange. There's some howitzers, but there's also lots of artillery, and way more men than you could ever imagine. This is the Infantry Division that we start with, and it's not terribly inaccurate. It's just a little weird, just this ginormous block of infantry and one random artillery. We'll come back to this more in 1914 when it's time to properly design our divisions. They are quintessentially Russian, and thus weird. We're just going to train as many regular divisions as we can, as well as some cavalry, because we need a lot of cavalry divisions for some reason. We get a whole bunch of terrible little events that'll just crop up randomly. Terrorist sabotage, which I don't actually know the consequence of, but it probably isn't going to be a good thing. We also have the options in the Great War themselves, which is to offer surrender terms to Germany. I think if I'm the only person in the Entente I can give up, and also tell Serbia what Austro-Hungary is planning. But that's a future thing. Every election cycle ever. Don't let the left wing win. Gonna be assigning a chief of army very early because I need the XP to make our divisions. And I'm gonna be hyper historical and actually recruit the guy who was the chief of army, Nikolai Nikolaevich Romanov. He is, I think, the brother of the Tsar, and he gets replaced by the Tsar himself in 1915 after he kind of just fails completely. Pretty much all the focus tree takes 70 days, and I do want to go down towards removing the strike movement because it kind of fixes my economy, but the rest of the focuses, especially the eco focuses, are just terrible. They just don't give me anything, like a couple factories here and there. I'm gonna have to build it all from scratch. There's a lot of Russian flavor for this mod. For example, Tolstoy died, and also a bank robbery. Get used to seeing this event, by the way. Apparently the Bolsheviks, they love robbing banks. Oh, and also this focus provides the answer as to why we own Tabriz, and it's because there was like a crisis and Russian troops came in to like temporarily occupy Tabriz, and so now we fight them in the Persian campaign of 1911. It's seemingly just a border war, so I guess we'll get some divisions on this bit, and I presumably on the Tabriz front. No, it's between Baku and Gilan. Okay, I have to move pretty much the entirety of my army over there to try to fight this. Please. Hurry! Oh boy, this little border conflict is really escalating. There's so many divisions here. Oh wow, he's even given all of the troops to my chief of army and made a new general, Nikolai Nikolaevich. This is weird. This is clearly like an historical thing, and I'm doing badly. Oh yeah, I'm sure our prime minister being assassinated is definitely not an indicator of serious problems. No! Italy's attacking the Ottomans, and I can't do anything about it, so I just get to watch. But the best thing is that this raises world tension sufficiently for me to go to partial Moby. Now, I can actually have factories. Oh, if we're being historical, we've got a high Grigory Rasputin. Let's go. Rasputin, mystical shaman who ruins my entire royal family's reputation and possibly led to our assassination. Literally gets a negative event straight away for having him. Okay. Also, I know we're in the age of trench warfare, but this border war has been going on for 6 months and no sign of it stopping. Also, it's finally time to move over to military factories because our deficits are really, really bad. Also, my favorite event in the entire mod, World War I Russia 91.T. Oh my god, look at that beard. It says that Alexander Bildering stops being a general, and apparently he died at this day, so I guess Beardy no more. I think the thing I like the least about this Great War mod is that there just isn't enough research options. You basically have to research every single thing because you've got 4 years to wait and just not enough to research. It's kind of lame. We get to support the Balkan League in their fight against the Ottomans. I will say yes. Maybe just to cover up for the fact that we've had to retreat from Tabriz, losing that entire chunk because we just lost the border war entirely. Screw us. But hey, I also didn't notice this. There is the Great Eastern Railway, the Chinese Eastern Railway. This is a really cool little concession thing that Russia needed to be able to connect to their warm water port of Vladivostok. Just look at this. Isn't history strange? I've been saving all of my PP for this, by the way. The Putilov Ironworks. Look at that. Beautiful factory output. I just need as much as I can get because I need the guns. Oh god, Rasputin getting weirder and weirder. Please stop, my dude. I was thinking it'd be peaceful, but no, we got worker protests. We got all kinds of nonsense. I'm sure the Russian proletariat won't be angry about us going to war, right? Speaking of that, it's now 1st of January 1914, which means it's time to make our infantry division. And this division basically did not change for almost the entirety of the war. But don't worry, this isn't going to be the only division we get to make. So the division for Russia is a little bit weird because the infantry division was not the basic building block of the Russian army. It was instead the core, the infantry core, which was made up of 2 infantry divisions, which were themselves made up of 2 brigades with 2 regiments and 4 battalions. But also in the core was a cavalry brigade with 2 cavalry regiments, some howitzers, and essentially just like a big kind of mega division. And it apparently had something like 65,000 men. This is obviously impossible to make in HOI because there's just a limit to how much I can fit. So if I split the divisions properly from the corps right in half, because there's 2 divisions per corps, problem is that would still be 32,000, which is basically impossible. However, if I do it in a battalion order, that is, trying to mimic the number of battalions in the division, this is actually accurate to the division. There were 16 infantry battalions. There were also 2 cavalry regiments, each of which being 1,000 men strong, so if I wanted to half that to combine with 1 infantry division, I would have 1,000 men, which is 2 cavalry. Also, if I want to match the artillery, in the infantry corps there were 96 regular field guns along with 12 howitzers, so if I divide that by 2, you get 48. Which is exactly what you get if you have 1 artillery line battalion and a support artillery. So even though the manpower is not accurate, I think this is as best as I can possibly make it. I also found evidence for some cavalry recon. The only problem is I can't put 6 howitzers in, which is what I would need to do if I were to replicate this completely historically. I know that some howitzers were added to divisions as the war goes on, so what I'm going to do is I will make some of my divisions have more howitzers as the game goes on to try to replicate this. For cavalry divisions, because remember this is World War I, you gotta have cavalry for some reason, it's a little weird. Cavalry divisions were quite small. They were made of 2 brigades, each with 2 regiments. But the size of regiments, according to my sources, is barely 1,000 men. So with 4 regiments, we're only looking at like 4,000 men. It also had a very small detachment of horse artillery, which we can replicate with support artillery, so this is it. This is a crap division. I mean, it's fine if you were playing regular HOI in World War II, I guess, if you wanted to move quickly, but in World War I, this is not good. The only other thing I have to think about, and the mod has thought about it as well, is the Siberian Army Corps. The Siberian divisions were slightly different than the regular army divisions. They were recruited from the people who lived in Siberia and were given kind of less equipment. From what I can tell, they were a little smaller with 4 regiments, each with 3 battalions, so this looks right, and a little bit less artillery because it only had 24 guns. It also had a much more reduced cavalry brigade as well, so I think this is pretty accurate. These guys are basically just like a lesser division. Oh boy. Sorry, Siberiboos. Now that we have our divisions, it's time for a cautionary tale about your private information.
Boy, I sure am nervous. My very first day as a newly employed British spy in enemy territory. I should be fine though. No one knows me here, all my identity is safe, no one knows a thing about me. Jawohl! Don't even bother. You are Aldrahill, you are British spy, you are from London, you had your first kiss at age 15. How embarrassing. You detest Marmite, you have a secret bank account, and you have a particular appreciation for fondant fancies, yeah? What? How could you possibly have known all this about me? All my information is safe. Not likely, yeah? We simply purchased all of your identifiable information from data brokers online. We got all we need to identify you immediately. You should have instead used Incog, and you would have been just fine. Incogni is a personal information removal service which hunts down your personal information or data online and gets it removed. Listen, your identity is the most important thing you own, but the trouble is, you don't really own it. Data brokers around the world look you up, buy your data, and then sell it on to advertising companies, scam websites, and all sorts of nefarious organizations. Your name, your addresses, your shopping habits, even your finances are all up for grabs. Robocalls of all of your information ready to hand, or your online activity stolen and used to influence and manipulate you through targeted ads. All abuse your data. Incogni helps by reaching out to those data brokers on your behalf and gets them to remove it. Not only that, but Incogni keeps fighting for you every day by making repeated removal requests to data brokers online so that any new breaches or new data records get removed without you even having to worry about it. I've had my data stolen countless times from website breaches, and I am sick and tired of getting endless spam emails and letters, all with way too much of my personal information on hand.
To use Incogni, click the link in my description or the pinned comment below to get a whopping 60% off with an annual Incogni plan. Thanks so much to Incogni for sponsoring me. Now, back to the video.
Oh no. At least I'll never have to have Marmite again.
Oh baby, the Zar Tank, it just gave me the tech for it. Unfortunately, I can't build it. It just gives me the tech. I'm not allowed to make it until I get tank tech in 1916. If you don't know about this tank, it was beastly and stupid. Oh, just look at it. Ah, if only I could make it. Oh, thanks, France. They're giving us a little loan to build up railways. In terms of actual battle plans, the main Russian offensives of 1914 were concentrated on trying to push into East Prussia and try to shorten that line, as well as make some gains into more defensible territory along the Austro-Hungarian border. And that's pretty much exactly what I'm gonna do. I've got my boys in little armies spread across the entirety of the front line split between Germany and Austria, and I've got an offensive army really ready to push here to try to get towards the river line and the mountains and just push them a little bit in. Right, there it is. The assassination has happened, so now we just wait for Austria to attack Serbia. I've also got one offensive in the north on East Prussia, trying to cut across and get into Königsberg, because I just need to shrink the line here. Oh, bro, it's not the time for rumors about Rasputin. Leave him alone. Oh, good thing I checked this. Yep, European crisis is ticking down, and I have to click Start Mobilization and guarantee Serbia, because otherwise we just won't join the war. Oh, thank goodness. Okay, I was really rushing down this focus tree because I needed to get land doctrine cost reduction, because we don't have any doctrines. If you're not aware, Great War era has, like, limited doctrines for this time period before you can go to the regular ones, and I really need to go down this, because the second one you can pick is trench warfare, which gives you 20 max entrenchment. If you don't have this, you die. We got it with 5 days to spare before the conflict starts, so we get a little bit of a chance to get some more entrenchment. But there it is. That is the start of the fight. Let's see how it goes. Relatively peaceful to start with. The key things for me is I have to think about fallback lines. I have some good rivers, you know, behind like Warsaw and the Vistula and Lodz. I really don't want to lose Warsaw and Lodz until I absolutely have to, because they are supply points, and I don't want them taking it. Oh, okay, I guess my fellow Entente brothers do not believe in me. I am already receiving Lend-Lease because we have such a significant deficit. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Decision-wise, we have the standard before the leaves fall thing, where, of course, the leaves are going to fall before we win. But we can also refuse to surrender or offer surrender terms to Germany, I think, for, like, if all the Entente backs out and we're the only ones left. And we can form battalions of death, but only once we're pretty far along the surrender process. That's a weird one. And we can also rename St. Petersburg. Apparently, around now in real life, St. Petersburg was renamed to Petrograd to get rid of the German words Saint and Berg. I just find that so funny. Let's do it. It's as Russian as fish pierogi. Here comes the Brits with all the Belgium attacks. Very nice. Oh, the US wants to sell us foods. Oh, baby. It costs me political power, but it gives me consumer goods. Oh, massive reduction, so I can actually do things. They also want to send me artilleries, but I don't have enough political power, so it's not a big deal. Oh, I am a little bit concerned about my front line, though. Even though the US keeps wanting to sell me rifles, the Germans are starting to push in a little bit. This whole mod is basically just a series of constant pushes on any exposed tiles. The problem is the enemy is doing it as well, and I've got a lot of plains tiles to defend, which is not good. Oh my god, the Ottomans. I completely forgot about the Ottomans. Oh no. Okay, so I had a reserve army that I had sort of like kicking around. I was going to use them as a fallback line or an offensive position. Nope. I gotta go south. I also think I'm gonna pull back my garrison boys. These are my little port garrisons. They're basically the equivalent of a brigade, but they need to be converted and sent straight to the Ottoman border because they'll be attacking very shortly. Oh, we've been sent a British general, Alfred Knox. Let's try and find him, and he's kind of lame. All right, he's not that great. His skills are pretty low. He's got some good abilities, winter expert and stuff, but meh. Oh, for some reason, the Germans' line has massively thinned out, presumably because they're pushing into the west. So let's just take a couple territories for free. I don't want to go too far because this would overextend me, but this does at least put some pressure on. Remember, our goal is to divert attention from the Belgian-France front, and it's not looking good over there. The front on the Austrians is going pretty good. I'm going to be able to encircle a nice little chunk of Austrian forces, which will shrink our line, make us a little bit stronger, and the Germans have pushed us in. Okay. The Germans have invaded Poland officially into Pluk. That's not so great. I'm going to bring up my offensive army that was pushing in East Prussia. I think I just have to pull them as a sort of reserve force to react here. This is not so great. I'm going to try and get some forts down as well out of an abundance of fear and caution. Right there it is. The Ottomans are involved. The Black Sea raid has occurred. I get a bunch of damage to my ships. Otto bros. Why? That's not cool. I've actually got a lot of divisions on our little border over in the east, so I'm going to just kind of go around them and see what we can take. Let's go. Oh, okay. Army epidemic. I forgot about this. This is absolutely terrible. Recruitable population factor is not great, but attrition, war support, this is painful. I do not like this. Perhaps even worse, of course, is our infantry equipment deficit. That is far more significant. We are very weak at this point. I am deeply, deeply concerned. Casualty-wise, we have suffered 117,000 or something like that, and the Germans have only lost like 200,000 total, so we're kind of losing. At least we're fighting so much we're getting XP enough to go to the next bit of the doctrine, which gives us a lot more soft attack for our artillery. This basically means we can actually do some offensive pushes like this. Oh, actually, this isn't a push. This is me getting pushed. We lost lots. Oh, we lost lots. No, that's bad. Oh, we have to actually fall back. Oh, no, we're getting cooked over here. I want to build some temporary fortifications, I guess, but I think we need to start thinking about pulling back to the Warsaw line. We can now finally do the Agrarian Reform focus to get more factories in our states, but it takes 140 days, man. That sucks. Why? I'd really rather work towards emergency conscription instead, because I get a bunch of infantry equipment and manpower. I need guns, dude. We're kind of getting floored here. We're getting pushed back everywhere. It's fully time to retreat. And this is a bit of a problem because our armies are on a front line, so we have to convert them to a fallback line. But we also have to make sure that our fallback lines, work right and cover all the lines, but don't put too many men on one section. But let's try to pull back here along the same borders we've got currently and go behind Warsaw. But we're also going to keep at least a few divisions on Warsaw in the meantime, because I really don't want to lose Warsaw. This is just like trying to defend Kiev along the Dnieper River. When you're playing against the Soviets in regular HOI, you want to hold on to Kiev even though your fallback line is behind the river, because the supply hub is so important. My boys are just retreating as best as they can, but some are getting encircled. There's not much we can do about that. We're doing our best. I'm trying to fight some delaying actions. The important thing is that the divisions that fall back and go behind the river, they get a chance to re-equip, but most importantly, build up entrenchment. So I have to delay the attackers for as long as possible, weeks if I can, to ensure we get some entrenchment. And we're already getting pushed back a little bit here along the Austro-Hungarians. They're doing some damage to us. The Western Front isn't really changing at all. They're just kind of fighting the same battles over and over again. Fortress Verdun is just fine. And the Ottomans are not really being pushed in by the Brits at all. All the actions over here, we are actually doing okay against the Austrians on the southern-eastern bit. I'm trying to do another encirclement, but there's just not much I can do to expose this salient. They're just kind of strong, or rather, I'm kind of weak. Oh, here's a nice little touch. Look at this. Nikolai II, our leader, has actually donned a military uniform because he is acting as the supreme commander of the military. Maybe you can build a better fallback line, Nikolai. Oh god, with Serbia capitulating, that's going to be a lot of Austrian boys on our line now. Maybe we could beg the US for some more lend-lease. Ooh, they will actually give us... Oh my god, 5,000 guns. Yes, thank you. I love you. Over down in the Ottoman front, I think I overextended. I'm getting hit by attrition quite a bit, so I'm going to pull back there. And also, we have now lost Warsaw. These divisions, they're just too under-equipped, man. I just can't make it. It's too hard. Our industry sucks. But we can hold on the Vistula for quite a long time, I think. Especially if we build some forts. I'm just going to try and do small little hits with some offensive armies in my cavalry here and there, keeping the majority of my boys on the defense, just to, draw out their attrition and, I don't know, ruin their entrenchment. I don't know, I'm just trying to do something. Why is the United States sent a note of protest? What have I done? Oh, I must have clicked right through it. There's the Persian Civil War. Oh, goody. I have to attack Persia now. Okay, so I need to pull some troops off of my western fronts and move them to the east and extend the Ottoman lines as well, because there's quite a lot of land to cover. At least Italy is formally in the war, and they are occupying most of the Austrian forces in the west, so it's a little easier for us to defend. Things are actually kind of peaceful now in mid-1915. We're just sort of vibing. The Persian front is surprisingly easy because they just don't have enough divisions, and some of them have moved to the Ottoman front, so I'm just going to try to capitulate them as fast as I can, encircle some boys, and make things a little easier. We can finally build some planes as well. No presets, unfortunately. This mod does not give you preset planes. You just have the planes you get. Here is the Sikorsky S-16, a pretty regular escort fighter, but apparently it just really sucked and performed terribly. Our attack bomber is actually the Voisin 3, which is actually a French plane. This was a French plane that fought in the Western Front and is actually a fighter plane. It's the first plane to shoot down an enemy plane in combat in history. Some were converted to bombers, though, so I guess the mod creators have just given us them as the bomber? I don't know. Okay, Persia has surrendered. That makes things a little bit easier. Can move some troops around on front lines. We can also have some equipment. That's nice. Still moving through the doctrines. I gotta take defense in depth. We're struggling. And in terms of the line, honestly, things are pretty static. We also do now have the focus choice of volunteer army or emergency conscription. Volunteer army is clearly better. It lowers my recruitable pop, but it gives me tons of defense and attack bonuses. But historically, the emergency conscription option was what was picked. And also, I need to do it. It gives me 12k equipment for free. I have to. I am running out of everything. And another army epidemic. Okay, cool. Yeah, thanks. Oh my god, what? The French have naval invaded and helped us push on the western bit, meaning we can actually flank around. Are we actually making gains right now? What is this? We're also in 1916, by the way, and this means that there should be a little bit more howitzers, but I can't really afford to put howitzers everywhere, nor would it be accurate. So to represent the fact that a little bit more howitzers were present, I'm going to add a howitzer battalion to the Siberian divisions. This is not quite accurate, but this represents the increased quantity of howitzer battalions in the entirety of the Russian front. I'm also getting really concerned about the Western front. The Germans are hitting pretty hard, so I think I'm just going to try a proper general assault. I'm going to just commit everybody and just yeet straight into the line just to try to slow down the German advances in the west and help out. You know, we are good allies. Oh my god, the general assault is actually working? What? This is good? The Germans don't know what's hitting them. We just lost Herbert Kitchener. It's sad seeing this from the other side. Chap came over to Russia to try and help and he died on the way here. Sorry, Britain. Oh my god, are we gonna win the war? This is great. We're actually pushing. It's very slow, but it's happening. Okay, this is causing some problems though. Our casualties are beginning to seriously mount and the bubbles are going from green to red. Okay, I think I've overcommitted. I have a huge salient in the southern section. This is a big problem. I think this is happening because our infantry equipment is just so low right now. Oh, no, this is it. Here it is. Rasputin murdered. No, our glorious advisor. How could you? This is the end. This is the end. Oh yeah, this is not good. We're trying to fall back as best we can back to our previous defensive positions, but I think I'm going to lose quite a lot of divisions to encirclement. Oh, that's going to really drive up my casualties. And don't forget that a certain something happens when you get enough casualties. Oh, maybe this, including mass desertion. Oh my god, my weekly manpower and recruitable population factor. This is not good. We are really struggling. The Western Front seemingly has stabilized, so maybe this was a good thing. But our line is crumbling. Even the Austrians are pushing us. We just kind of have to fall back. Oh, apparently the Brusov offensive has occurred. I don't recall doing that. I didn't get a single decision or any bonuses whatsoever. It just says that I had the Brusov offensive. I didn't. I did not. Couldn't I have received some bonuses for that? I guess not. Oh, my boys are getting completely encircled and destroyed. That's so bad. Even Romania is collapsing. I think I have to fall back even further to like the beginning of the Baltic areas. There's a river around Kovno, and we can kind of go east and cut down. There are some plains tiles we're going to have to reinforce with forts, but I think we just got to keep going and fall back as fast as we can here. Okay, yeah, even the southern front is falling. This is not so great. There it is. We have triggered it. Russian autocracy is failing. We have the Tsar's abdication in only 19 days. I'm glad I decided to check this because I did not get an event pop up. So I can suppress the rebellious garrisons or abdicate in favor of Brother Mikhail. which is weird because that's what happened, but the abdication is happening regardless, so I don't really understand that one. I also could suppress the rebellious garrisons to try to delay it a little bit more, but the thing is that I do actually want the Russian Civil War to occur, and I want to be the Soviets. That's like the whole point. I'm following historical. So, let's do it. The Tsar abdicates. Motherland is on fire. We are now a dual power. It's the June Revolution. It's not a good time to be here. We've not gained any new stuff. I assume we just have to wait a while. Our flag has changed, which is kind of cool. Not really sure what comes... Okay, Lvov has become the prime minister, and Lvov has now left as the prime minister, or president rather. Now Kerensky is the president. Hey, I can make the Battalion of Death now at least. That's something, because we've sort of lost so much territory. Apparently it's just a bunch of Russian women who banded together to fight on the front lines. Sorry, you don't get anything special. I'm just throwing you on the front. I'm sorry, I've got nothing else for you. Oh, and it's the Kornilov affair. This appears to be an attempted coup to try to change the government to like a proto-fascistic one. Now, I have a bunch of different options, but only the top one, arm the local Bolsheviks, says that it will lead to the Bolshevik coup. So I believe this is the historical option, so we'll do that one. Because remember, I want the Bolsheviks. Frontline-wise, we're just kind of constantly pulling back again and again. It's not great. And there it is, the Bolshevik Threat. It started as quiet whispers. We will get the storming of the Winter Palace. We're just going to keep falling back. This whole thing has happened because we took too many casualties and lost too much territory, so we started to get surrender progress. A certain something happens, which is not so great. We have two options: to storm or we do not recognize it and play as the breakaway nation. Weirdly, that's the option I want to click, the we do not recognize it, and puts us as the Soviet Russia, led by Lenin. We now have a lot of really weird national spirits. They're bad, they're very unpleasant, but we have a full focus tree, which is crazy. They take a very long time, but they gradually remove all of our little malices, or most of them, and we get a bunch of free troops popping up all over Russia. So I guess it's just allocate everyone to generals and put them on the line, so just trying to aggressively push as much as possible. We need to take as much territory as we can, and we also really do want to work towards the Treaty of Brest-Litovsk, because I would like to have peace, if you don't mind. It takes a long time to happen, but then it gives us a nice big truce, and we end up losing a lot of territory. All we have to do is basically just keep pushing. I've got everyone on aggression, and we have 200 days before the Germans attack us, but that's fine. We can ignore that because we'll be at peace with them soon. Oh boy, the fun never ends. Now the Ukrainian People's Republic have popped out. I guess we'll be fighting them as well, and Germany has demanded Poland. Well, you are completely occupying Poland, my guy. I cannot resist this. You enjoy. We've also got divisions sort of all over Russia now, popping up like in Vladivostok and in like Siberia. I don't quite understand it. We just have to keep pushing. Germany is also demanding the Baltic. Okay, that's not so cool. I also now do have a little bit of army XP, so I can talk about the divisions, because that's right, the Soviet Red Army division was weird. Like all things Soviet, they love to exaggerate. The Infantry Division was apparently gigantic, with 57,000 men and 116 pieces of artillery. Just insane. 27 infantry battalions, 4 artillery battalions, 4 cavalry squadrons. Now, this is basically impossible to replicate, even if I tried to divide it into, little bits. But the thing is that there were howitzers, and there were a weirdly large number of cavalry. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to basically quarter it, or third it, and this is what I'm going to make. I'm going to replace one of the infantry battalions with some howitzers to get the howitzers and add some more cavalry. I'm limited by my slots. This is the problem. I don't have the unlimited use of slots because of the mod limitations. Also, I have some sources that say that in actuality, the divisions were massively undersupplied in both equipment and manpower, and that most divisions didn't have more than 8,000 men. So this was just like the paper strength, but we're doing what we can, so that's fine. And now it's just pushing, just endless pushing. The thing is, though, we do have a lot of divisions. Like, we are seriously heavy on divisions. So it's not actually that hard a conflict. The Russian AI, the Republic Russian AI, I guess, are kind of lame. I'm just pushing very heavily because there just isn't really a lot of divisions on the line. And it's going okay. There is a weird thing that there are so many different Russian breakaway states, including the Ukrainian one has now broken into 2 different breakaway states, the Ukrainian Soviet Republic and the Ukrainian Hetmanate. I don't understand. But we're just going to keep pushing and try to encircle. The current Russian capital, the bad Russian capital, is in Bryansk, and I've encircled that. It's just going to take a few months to wear them down. Oh, okay, looks like the Western Front is fine. The Armistice of Compiègne, Germany, failed. Basically, once they do their Ludendorff offensive, if they don't win within a certain time, they're basically forced to peace out. So that's what's happened. They will gradually make the regular historical peace treaty. All the while, I will be pushing. This is actually taking an obscenely long amount of time, just trying to take every little bit of Russia. There's just so much. I control all of Russia at this point. How are you not surrendering? Okay, there it is. We win. We're going to full annex them. We've won the Russian Civil War. We are now Soviet Russia. We can deal with the influenza pandemic. And here is the lovely Paris Peace Conference, which is very strange. France has taken a gigantic chunk of Germany, and Ukraine is here in West Ukraine. I'm not really sure about what's going on over here. Oh, the Ottomans are so ugly. Why does Britain own Constantinople? I don't like this at all. But it doesn't matter. We win. We are the glorious Soviet Russia. You could obviously carry on from here and work down towards establishing the Soviet Union, which I think will then reincorporate various breakaway states. But we're going to call it here. This was the division that we ended up with, and this has been some glorious World War I historical Russian hell. Thank you very much for watching. Do be sure to leave a like and a comment down below suggesting new video ideas. The Black Ice video is coming next week. I'm terrified and already tired. Thanks again to Incog for sponsoring this video, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.